It's easy to think of happiness as something that just happens to us. Some lucky combination of circumstances, personality, and maybe a little bit of fate. But what if happiness is something we can create? Something we can choose? In today's episode, we are going to talk about the book titled The Courage to Be Happy. This book was co-written by Japanese philosopher and psychologist Ichiro Kishimi and writer Fumitake Koga. This book is based on the ideas of Alfred Adler, an early 20th century psychotherapist who believed that happiness isn't about luck or fate. It's about two core things: independence and community. So, the core idea from this book is that happiness is about the ability to stand on your own and the ability to connect with others. In this episode, we're going to answer two questions. What does it really mean to be independent? And how do we build stronger, healthier connections with our community? Let's start with the first goal of Adlerian psychology: independence. Independence is something we crave from the moment we can think for ourselves. Kishimi and Koga explain that, deep down, every person has a natural drive to overcome helplessness. Just look at toddlers. They want to do everything on their own, from getting dressed to pouring a drink, even when they clearly need help. Even before they fully understand the world, they're already pushing for control over their own actions. But Adlerian psychology takes it a step further. According to Adler, our push for independence is actually a push for freedom, the ability to make our own choices and carry them out without waiting for someone else's approval. Because at the end of the day, what people truly want isn't just to be self-sufficient. They want control over their own lives. They want to act, decide, and move forward on their own terms. And that's what independence is all about. This sounds very simple, right? But how does one learn how to gain independence? The book offers two main strategies. The first strategy, in order to gain independence, is to only focus on what you can control. One of the most powerful ideas in Adlerian psychology is learning to focus your energy on what's actually yours to control and not letting anyone take that control away from you. Kishimi and Koga call this the separation of tasks. The idea is very simple. Every person has their own responsibilities, their own challenges, and their own choices to make. And just as we shouldn't interfere with someone else's tasks, we shouldn't allow others to interfere with ours. So, how do you know if something is your task? Ask yourself two questions. Is the outcome in my control? And am I directly affected by the outcome? If the answer to both is yes, then that's something you own. If not, then it belongs to someone else, and you need to let it go. Let's look at an example. Take a major life decision, like, for example, the person who you decide to marry. That's your task. You're the one building a life with this person and facing the ups and downs of the relationship. But that won't stop others from having their opinions. Maybe your parents disapprove, or your friends think you could do better. Their concerns might come from a place of love, and it's okay to listen. But at the end of the day, the decision is yours. Now here's where the separation of tasks really matters. How they feel about your choice is not your responsibility. If your parents are upset or your friends are disappointed, those emotions belong to them. You can't control their feelings, and you can't let their feelings directly affect your relationship. The lesson here is simple. Focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't control. Your choices are yours to make, and other people's feelings about your choices are their own responsibility. The second strategy, in order to gain independence, is to free yourself from your past, because your past doesn't define you. Adler's theory, as explained by Kishimi and Koga, states that it's not what happened to you that shapes who you are. It's how you interpret those events. And because you control that interpretation, you can become the person you want to be at any time. Many people remain stuck in life because they genuinely believe their past defines them. They tell themselves, I am the way I am because of what happened to me, and use their past as an excuse to resist change. But the truth is, your past only holds the meaning you assign to it. Your past doesn't have to shape your present or dictate your future. The key lesson here is that you can achieve independence from your past by changing the way you see it. You are not bound by old narratives. You have the power to rewrite your story and create a future on your own terms. While independence is something we all strive for, there are common obstacles that can hold us back. Kishimi and Koga identify three major barriers that prevent people from taking control of their own lives. The first obstacle is a lack of courage. Many people avoid making their own choices because they fear making the wrong one. Think about someone who stays in an unfulfilling relationship simply because they're afraid of being alone. But independence requires ownership of both your successes and your failures. If fear controls your decisions, then you're letting something else dictate your life. The way forward is to accept that possible failure or disappointment are simply parts of your story, not reasons to stop moving. True independence comes from having the courage to take control of your own path, no matter which direction you choose. The second obstacle is a lack of will. Some people don't struggle with fear. They simply prefer the ease of letting others decide for them. Maybe it's the person who always says, "I don't care, you choose," when making plans with friends. Or the employee who never speaks up at work and is content to follow instructions rather than take initiative. This passive approach creates dependence. You're not in control of your life if you constantly defer to others. The solution for this obstacle is to start small. Make decisions for yourself: what to eat, where to go, how to spend your time. Train yourself to take responsibility for your own choices, and independence will follow. The third obstacle is self-centeredness. As children, we relied on others for everything. But some people never fully grow out of that mindset and expect the world to accommodate them without taking responsibility for themselves. We all know somebody who constantly blames others, their parents, their boss, and society for their problems. They expect support and assistance, but don't take any action to change their situation. True independence means recognizing that life isn't about what others owe you, but about what you do for yourself. No one owes you anything because you are not the center of the world, and the world doesn't revolve around you. Instead of expecting handouts, you need to take responsibility for your own future. While independence is essential for self-esteem and personal freedom, it's only one side of the equation. According to Kishimi and Koga, true happiness also depends on Gemeinschaftsgefühl, a German word that translates to community feeling or a sense of belonging. This is because humans are social by nature. No matter how independent we become, our lives are deeply shaped by our relationships. In fact, Adler believed that all of life's hardships and joys come from our interactions with others. Now let's look at a few ways on how to cultivate a sense of community in your life. The first step is to contribute more to other people. Contributing to your community isn't just good for others. It's essential for your own happiness and fulfillment. Adler believed that happiness comes from feeling useful, and that sense of usefulness builds a deeper feeling of self-worth and belonging. That's because your value only exists in relation to others. It's not enough to simply be productive and successful in your own corner. You have to be useful to someone else to truly feel valued. No matter how much you accomplish, if your efforts serve only yourself, they won't bring lasting fulfillment. Of course, that doesn't mean you have to make grand gestures or constantly give things to others. Adler taught that contribution isn't always about specific actions. Sometimes just participating in your community is enough. Small actions like offering a listening ear or lending a helping hand can create a profound sense of belonging and community. Another way to strengthen your connection to others is by freely offering respect, not because of what someone does, but simply because they exist. In Adlerian terms, respect starts with recognizing someone for who they are, without trying to change them. Respect is fundamentally about trust. When you respect someone, you trust them to take charge of their own life and make their own decisions. Most importantly, respect isn't something people have to earn. It's a choice you make. You can choose to respect everyone, your loved ones, coworkers, strangers, even people you disagree with. The third thing you can do to create a sense of community is to nurture the three fundamental relationships: your working relationships, your friendships, and your loving relationships. The first way to build a sense of community is through your work. No matter what job you have, you contribute to society by doing something that helps others. Think about it. If you need a car, you don't build one yourself. You buy it from people who specialize in making cars. If you go to a restaurant, someone cooks your food. The point is that every job matters because it fills a need in society. Kishimi and Koga explain that your worth isn't based on your job title or your salary, but on your attitude toward work. Whether you're a CEO or a cashier, what truly makes you valuable is how you approach your role. For example, imagine two salespeople. One knows everything about the products, but treats customers rudely. The other is still learning, but is friendly, approachable, and eager to help. Who do you think people would rather buy from? Your attitude and willingness to serve others have a greater impact on your happiness than just your skills. The key lesson here is that no matter what job you do it well and see it as a way to contribute to others. The second way to build a sense of community is through friendships. Good friendships are based on two things: respect, accepting people for who they are without trying to change them, and empathy, trying to understand others by seeing things from their perspective. One of the best things you can do as a friend is listen. People don't always need advice. They just want to feel heard. You don't have to agree with everything they say, but you should respect their thoughts and feelings. Unlike work relationships, friendships are not about getting something in return. They are built on real connection, not rewards or benefits. By nurturing meaningful friendships, you not only enhance your own life, but also create a strong sense of connection and belonging, something truly priceless. The last and most important relationship, according to Kishimi and Koga, is love. Unlike work or friendship, love is unique because it belongs to both you and your partner at the same time. In a loving relationship, your goal isn't just to find happiness for yourself. It's to create happiness together. Adler believed that true happiness comes from giving love, not just receiving it. As kids, we relied on our parents to give us love, but as we grow older, we must shift our focus from wanting love to giving love. When you stop thinking me and start thinking us, you reach a new level of happiness. We've reached the end of the episode. I hope the time you spent watching this video was valuable to you. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.